A thirsty crow. It was summer. The day was very hot. A crow was very thirsty. He looked for water here and there, but he could not find any water. At last, he saw a pot with very little water inside. He thought of a plan. He picked up stones from nearby and dropped them into the pot one by one. The water came up. The crow drank the water and flew away happily. Moral: we should use our common sense.
A greedy dog. Once, a dog found a bone in the forest. He held the bone in his mouth. As he was crossing a stream, he looked into the water and saw another dog holding a bone in his mouth. He wanted the other bone also, so he barked at the dog. Bow, wow! Bow, wow! As he opened his mouth to bark, the bone fell into the water. He lost the bone. It was not another dog in the water. It was his own reflection. The greedy dog had learnt a lesson.
Moral: we should not be greedy. The Hare and the Tortoise. A hare and a tortoise were very good friends. One day, they were talking with each other about running a race.
You lazy fellow, I can win any race,
said the hare to the tortoise.
We shall see,
said the tortoise. So the race began. At first, the hare went off far ahead. The hare was sure to win. So he slept for some time. But he overslept. Meanwhile, the tortoise walked on slowly. He reached the winning spot and won the race. Moral: slow and steady wins the race.
The Lion and the Mouse. Once, a lion caught a mouse. He wanted to eat him. The mouse said,
Please don't eat me. Someday I will do you a favor.
The lion took pity on the mouse and let him go. After a few days, the lion got caught in a hunter's net. The mouse came to know of this. He rushed to help the lion. He bit the ropes of the net with his sharp teeth and set the lion free.
Moral: no one is too small or too weak to help another.
The Fox and the Grapes. Once upon a time, a fox saw a bunch of grapes hanging from a vine. He wanted the grapes. So he jumped and jumped again. But he could not get the grapes. So he went away saying,
"The grapes are sour."
Moral: we often pretend that we do not want a thing when we cannot get it. The Crow Who Pretended. Once, a crow saw a peacock. He wanted to look like the peacock. So, he gathered some peacock feathers and stuck them on his own. He looked very funny. Then, he joined a party of peacocks, but they did not take any notice of him. So, he went back to his friends the crows. They also did not take notice of him. He became very sad. He had no friends. Moral: we should never pretend to be what we are not. Two silly goats. Once upon a time, there were two silly goats. They wanted to cross a narrow bridge. One silly goat was on one side, the other silly goat was on the other side. When they came to the middle of the bridge, they could not pass each other. Now, both of them wanted to be the first to cross. They began to fight. As they were fighting, both of them fell into the water and drowned. Moral: foolishness is always punished. The Fox and the Crow.
Once a crow found a piece of cake and flew with it on a tree. A fox passed below the tree. He saw the crow with the piece of cake. He wanted that cake, so he said,
"Oh, crow! What beautiful feathers you have! So your voice must be beautiful too. Please let me hear you sing."
The silly crow opened his mouth to sing. As soon as he opened his beak, the piece of cake fell from his beak. The clever fox picked it up and ran away laughing.
Moral: foolish pride always has a fall.
The cap seller. It was a hot summer afternoon. A cap seller sat under a tree and had his food and slept for some time. There were many monkeys on the tree. They saw the cap seller's bundle. They came down and opened the bundle. They found caps in it. And they took them and went back on the tree. When the cap seller got up, he saw monkeys on the tree with his caps on their heads. He shouted at them, but the monkeys went higher up on the tree. So he threw his cap down in anger. Seeing this, all the monkeys threw their caps down. The cap seller picked up the caps and tied them in a bundle and went on his way.
Moral: there is always a way out of every difficulty.
The King and his Lazy Subjects. There was once a king who was very sad because his people were very lazy. One day he decided to test them. He buried some treasure in the middle of the main street and put huge stones on the spot. He then disguised himself and waited and watched to see what his subjects would do. No one cleared the road, so the king himself removed the boulders and showed them the treasure that was buried there. "You see," he said, "if you had only not been lazy, this treasure would have been yours."
Moral: laziness has no reward. If you want something, you must work for it.
If you like our videos, please do share and subscribe to our channel.